Let's get into it. Former Minister, you said that the National Commissioner, Bheki Cele, stabilized SAPS and put many systems and structures in place that made the police function much more efficiently. Then you took over from Cele and you continued the great work, and the crime stats are evident of your superior work as a national commissioner. Then you were removed. In came Ria Bheki and was appointed. And based on your oral evidence yesterday, you said that this is when SAP started losing some of its institutional capacity.
I don't know.
Am I paraphrasing more or less?
Thank you very much.
Your testimony yesterday in that regard.
I'll be guessing what led to that.
Particularly on
the
former National Commissioner
as a prerogative
and
of the President of the Republic of
So
South
what do you
Africa.
think, or what do you know, what factors or interests led to the appointment
by the Constitution
of the former
Republic of
National
South
Commissioner,
Africa,
Ria Bheki,
the President will
National Commissioner
appoint the man or the woman as the Commissioner. I don't know. I'll be guessing, Honorable Member. Good morning. The appointment of the National Commissioner is a prerogative
I'll
be of the President of the Republic of South Africa. Except the understanding that the appointment of the National Commissioner authorized by the Constitution of the President of the Republic of South Africa. Authorized by the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, that the President will appoint the man or the woman as the Commissioner of South African Police. So what criteria that is used, I can't tell. I gave the story myself that I was approached by him that I would be appointed, and I did not like the job at all because I thought it was a tough job, but he insisted on it. But when I was appointed, I had a little bit of understanding of the police. Remember, I was MEC, I was chair I don't know what would safety and security triggered, or I don't know even what giving an triggered, or even giving an inch of understanding or thinking that Ria Bheki could be a national commissioner. I have no idea.
So there's actually something you don't know about the political landscape and appointments.
No, definitely. I wouldn't know.
And the question wasn't so much, Minister, on like what criteria, but what were the material conditions during that time in both the government and the political landscape? I was asking you to speak to that, but you don't understand if you don't want to have anything concrete to contribute to that. Have anything concrete to contribute to that?
Well, I don't know anything about somebody's prerogative. It's somebody's prerogative, which means you only, honorable member. Once it's prerogative, you can do something that you don't understand, but
so
it's your prerogative.
So you're pretty much saying that you didn't understand. So you're pretty much saying that you didn't understand why that, or you maintain that you don't understand, but we do understand that decision was taken, but we do understand that it was the prerogative of the president. Do you think? And maybe this is a more better question. Do you think that the institutional capacity or the decline was rather than a gradual neglect, and more specifically, whose interests do you think it serves if we have a SAPS that is? Do you think it serves if we have a SAPS that is weak?
I guess it was deliberate. I guess it was deliberate. As I've mentioned, the structures that were there were dismantled. Both the operational and the managerial structures were really messed up. So whose interest was it? I wouldn't know. But I could also say it did look like it was across the justice system rather than the police alone. The NPA was changed some people thrown out of the some are sitting here who were thrown out of the NPA. Not only that, even in the state security apparatus, people that were there were thrown out. People that you know that they were doing a good job, whose interest that's a story to find, that's a story to find. But you ask me, if it was accident, I would say no.
Okay, and you don't have an opinion on why this would be, and I understand it would be your opinion, but you haven't done any digging, and you are a senior member in, both a political party, and you've been serving in government for a very, very long time. So when you see this, I'm sure you would have had some discussions or just applied your mind, your take on it, not that this would just be that was the case. Your take on it, not necessarily that was the case.
Having a chance, I'll check. Well, the opinion is that if I come, I want to steal. And I know that you have a bulldog out of the bulldog. Having a chance, I'll check so that I do things teeth out of the bulldog. Maybe somebody was taking teeth out of the bulldog. Maybe somebody was taking teeth out of the bulldog so that can do things.
And who do you think that was? And who do you think that was?
Those that were leading.
Who was leading at that time? Who was leading at that time?
Zuma was the president. Zuma was the president.
So it was under the Zuma administration. What was so I guess you've answered this already, saying that there was also increased political interference during that period, and that contributed largely to the deliberate institutional capacity decline in SAPS. Can we say that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. One of the reasons you said you were removed, former minister, was that you refused to take legal or improper instructions. So I want to talk a little bit about the Marikana massacre, because it happened during that period. So if you were still the National Commissioner during that period when the Marikana workers were protesting for a living wage, and then we had the ANC deputy president Ramaphosa that was all over meeting ministers and calling for pointed action. How would you have responded to the protests of the Marikana workers?
Well, I would be saying this time and again, sometimes I sound arrogant. If I were there, they would not have a Marikana. I sound arrogant when I say, but I can assure you, there would be no Marikana if one was there. Maybe let's take this one. I don't know, I'm not defending Cyril on this one, but I don't know. Cyril was the member of the ANC, was not in government.
Yeah, that's
who's
what
the
I
president
said.
now. And then he speaks to the Minister of Police, as it happens even today. That people, they speak to the Minister. And then the Minister speaks to the National Commissioner. And Marikana happens. But the focus up to this day is more on Cyril rather than the Minister and the National Commissioner that were there. I don't know how it changed to be that way. For me, I think, again, most of us were crying at the wrong funeral there. To say Cyril is maybe the letter that he wrote or the email, I don't know what was the letter.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yes, but he wrote it to somebody that had to moderate it in terms of implementation. I don't think that the letter from Cyril said, you go and shoot 34 people and die there. I don't think he said so. So I would love how it came about. Another very serious point about Marikana, all of us, we talk about 34 people. We don't talk about 10 people that died before that day, and brutally so. You know, the police that were killed there, and they were cut their manhood and all that kind of thing. We don't talk about that. But you want my opinion on the police shooting on that particular day. Let me give the story of the National Commissioner, who's almost 2 months in the job, and he surely has no understanding of the environment. Honorable Member, the operatives, the commanders, some of them, for sure, the person that was there, I think was Mawela, who was on the ORS, they went and briefed the National Commission and go to copies and sit on copies. He said, you go and fence that place, put the barbed wire, put the police inside. When the people come, put the tear gas on them. That's the first thing. Second thing you do, you go to the bus company and tell them to stop ferrying people there. And thirdly, have what you call disruptive arrest, those that were agitating and all that, do the thing. And as they left, he changed the whole plan. He told Commissioner Mbombo, who was the only female commissioner, provincial commissioner at the time, to say, you go and deal with them. You remember the morning statement that today is a D-Day. And that how came about. There were many ways of avoiding that kind of death. And it's unfortunate that it happens, and we must, as South Africans, stay with that blood stain for a very long time.
Former Minister, I know you're saying that you're not defending President Ramaphosa, and that we are, that our focus hasn't been on the minister and the national commissioner. But this is speaking exactly to the political interference, because he wasn't even in government at that time. He was a deputy minister of the ANC, and he was calling ministers. And he asked, and he said there must be pointed action. So we can't downplay that.
Was that deputy minister of the ANC?
Yeah, he was deputy minister of the ANC at that time. He was.
No.
Oh, deputy. Sorry,
No, he
you're
wasn't.
okay.
No, he wasn't.
Sorry, my bad. Deputy president of the ANC at that time.
No. Who was the deputy president of the country then?
I don't know who was.
Honorable Mathis, just hold a moment. Let me take Honorable Sangon.
No, Chair, I just want us to correct Honorable Mathis. We're not interrupting her testimony. Mr. Cele Ramaphosa was neither deputy minister nor deputy president of the ANC when Marikana happened. If the facts can just be correct. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I stand corrected, but I thought you had just come out of a conference at that time, or he was. But I stand corrected. But I mean, that even makes it worse. He wasn't even in political leadership, and he was calling ministers, and ministers were responding to him. He also met with the Minister of Mineral Resources here in Cape Town in his own testimony. You don't have to respond to that, Minister Cele, but I obviously you can.
To respond to the first one. I think Deputy President of the ANC have been always Deputy President of the country. So that's why I want to know who was the Deputy President of the country then, because that would be the Deputy President of the ANC. But Ramaphosa was not the Deputy President. He was an NEC member.
Okay.
Was definitely an NEC member, but not Deputy President.
Okay, I had my
Honorable
information
Mola.
incorrect. I thought there was a gap between the election, the ANC conference, and then the country's elections, but I stand corrected. Thank you, ANC members.
Honorable Mathis, let's take Honorable Nola.
Thank you.
No, Chair, just to also help that Marikana happened in August 2012. President Ramaphosa was elected Deputy President of the ANC in December 2012. Thank you, Chair.
NEC members of the ANC calling ministers. Thank you. Let's move on. Thank you. You said you've refused to take illegal and improper instructions, and this is why you were removed. I think I've dealt with that question. Do you think Ria Piaka was thrown under the bus by the same politicians who entangled themselves in the SAPS operations that resulted in the Marikana massacre?
No. Before that, Honorable Member, I want to take a step back on this NEC members calling the ANC. The CIC sitting next to you there, on the issues of safety, we have met as I'm an ANC, as I'm a Minister of Police. But CIC we have met. It will be so much irresponsible for me to say I'm not meeting the leaders when it comes. The leadership of the IFP, I've met Tlabisa as a president. I've met Holomisa as a president of UDM. And I just imagine the minister saying I'm not meeting the politicians. That would be hell of a minister. So because all of us, we have one minister. Otherwise we say, you have your EFF minister, you have your UDM minister, you have. So that can't be out of order when political leaders have an access to ministers. It doesn't matter. If you become a minister tomorrow, I'll look at you, social welfare, and ask my 350 from you. So definitely it can't be out of order that political leaders have an access to ministers.
Okay, but we're not saying that it's out of order for the access, but the level of access and even the emails that are even calling for pointed action was quite specific. But I think we can move on from
I agree on that.
Minister. That was excessive involvement, was almost like a directive. Let's talk about whether you think Riephecha was thrown under the bus by these same politicians who entangled themselves in the operations. The Marikana SAPS operations.
About the operation or about the whole appointment?
No, the operations during the whole.
He thrown himself under the bus.
She threw herself.
Yes.
She wasn't thrown.
She threw herself under the bus. I'm saying she had a good night before when the operatives, the generals, they went to brief her how to handle the situation. And in the morning there was an announcement to say today is a D-Day, opposing all the briefings that had happened the previous night. So she was given the way out, and she opted to not to ride the bus but to go under it.
So do you think she did that because she was directed by the politicians?
I wouldn't know that. Why so?
Okay. Yesterday you said that if you were the national commissioner and you received that New Year's Eve directive about disbanding in the trust team, you would have told him to stay in his lane. Do you think that General Masimula is part of the problem for allowing political interference?
I don't think it's a part of the problem, General Masimula. Well, to start with, on the eve he wasn't there, and then but at the end of the time, I think for me it became very soft, even to engage on phasing out. For me, he should have said, no, it can't happen. Maybe take the opportunity of explaining to the minister, eyeball to eyeball, how it came about and advise. But looks like there was not even an opportunity of the National Commissioner, nor Mkwanaze, nor Kumalo, to brief the minister on these matters. I think the door was shut for them. Even if they wish to do it, it doesn't look that they were given the opportunity to do it.
So do you think that this is a characteristic, or that he just responded softly, and as the president had, my CIC had said, he was more agreeable, or is that speaks to his character, and is that the type of character that we need as a national commissioner, who can't say to the politicians, yay, stay in your lane?
I think he's one person that I've worked with for a very long time. When I was a commissioner, when I was Masimula is very respectful. He's something that has a lot of respect as a person, as a human being. No doubt about that. Sometimes in the circles where I speak, I said he would have made a good bishop, Masimula. He's got a maybe a very good heart to look after the lions. That's that for me. But he knows his job. He knows his job. Maybe he doesn't have enough pushback when he's supposed to do it. He would take you along, maybe taking you along until he reaches the cliff, and he jumps with you or on the cliff. But I think it's one person that, well, he's a human being, but he's one person that I think he will have very less bad intentions in life.
And then, just to close on this section, former Minister, from your experience, what would be a more progressive appointment process and accountability for a national commissioner, one that doesn't rely that heavily on two politicians to keep their positions? And this is on the back of the fact that we've only had one national commissioner since 1994 that served a full term. So that might be a problem. So just your take, since you've been in the space for a long time, and it's also something that as a committee we need to give recommendations and guidance on the process.
You say one, you mean favors?
I beg your pardon?
If you say one that finishes term, you mean,
Yeah,
you mean favors?
Yeah.
Served his term. You know, I always wonder which side of favors did people see as a best commissioner. Shoba died after under Fivers. They died after him. The mass killings of Richmond happened under Fivers. I remember that at one time, him and me sabambananga mawashing in Richmond, because I could see that police were not doing what they're supposed to do. Shoba and the honorable member, police went door to door asking the houses of the ANC people if they had the guns, and we knew that after that was going to be a raid. And I spoke to Skuman, and on the 15th of December 95, I said to the secretary of the ANC, which happens to be Mkhono in the province, let's go and talk with the police in Potchefstroom to say it's going to be a disaster in Shoba. And then there was a guy called Fori, who was a commander of the stability unit, who was advising the IFP what to say in the meeting when we meet. And all those things were related to Fivers, who did not do anything about it. Those are the facts. This is what my understanding when people say is the best one. This one is things said I don't have facts about it. You'll know now that Fivers is one of the people that have one of the best private security company. I think his big job, he works with, what is this, fast train, Gautrain. I'm told that people most of them that work there are South African Police Service members that were sent to be trained for specialization overseas and then were extracted out of the organization to come and work for the private security. That's information I have. I have not verified it. So for me, that he finished, it doesn't mean that he did the best job.
But you haven't answered the question about what do you think, or what process should we have that our national commissioner, that is one of the most powerful positions in the country actually, is not reliant, them staying in that position is not reliant on two politicians essentially.
Okay. The first thing is to deal with the constitution.
Yeah,
That's
what we're asking.
You start from there. Otherwise, no matter what you wish, you are not going to do anything. The second one, I think I did explain yesterday how Massimola was appointed.
Yeah, that there was
that
panel, yeah.
Not very rigid, but it was a panel of people that know the environment. obviously, honorable member, with the constitution fixed, all DGs are appointed that way of panels and taken to the cabinet and all that. I think that because the National Commission is a DG, I think it will follow the patterns of the appointment of all DGs.
Okay. You said that when you were appointed as the National Commissioner, you had a pretty decent relationship with most of the generals when you arrived at headquarters, lieutenant generals, major generals, but not all of them. And you didn't tell us which ones you did not have a good relationship with. So can you, or the relationship was not as welcoming, I suppose, as it was with the others. So who were those, and how did you manage those working relationships?
Most of them had good relationship, but the one, I think we didn't have a good relationship with Cele, General Cele, who was the head of the supply chain, and also before he joined the South African Police Service was the commissioner of the Sky Butcher Police under Noche, who was the Minister of Justice, Police and Correctional or Prisons. And so I felt he was really locked and arrested to the past of him being the leader of one of the most brutal Bantustans, this guy. And he was part of the shooting that took place somewhere in Bisho, where many people died. He was running those operations. He was part of it. So maybe with this history that did not put us together from where my background of politics and his background of politics. But we worked along, but we knew that we were not very warm to each other.
So you all managed to keep it professional. So there was no relationship with any of the major generals or lieutenant generals that affected the performance. You performing your job and also them performing their jobs during that time.
Well, any good thing that happened then, it was collective, honorable member. Definitely could not be a single man running the whole thing. We were very collective, and fortunately we had.
Did they report or to cabinet? And if they reported to the president, was cabinet regularly briefed on its work and its resolutions?
Well, it reported direct to the president, but its issues were also discussed in the cabinet.
Okay. And is there any document that sets out the functions of the IMC on political killings? Not the PKTT, because those have been explained both by the National Commissioner and the General, but something similar to like terms of reference that were adopted to guide the work of the IMC.
Well, the documents of the IMC would be the minutes of the meetings, but also because it was multifaceted in terms of departments, the information note that was produced by the National Commission of the South African Police, yes, it does have that information you're talking about, how how they were going to be informed and what are they going to do coming from where. But I would not argue the same what other DGs do in their department to create the roadmap, as I know for sure that South African Police Service under the leadership of Cele did. If you ask that the portion of the police, indeed that happened.
Okay, so there were no terms of reference. We just have an information note on the IMC, or the establishment of the IMC.
Well,
and then minutes of documents, etc.
There were no terms of reference except the instruction what they were supposed to go and do in KZN.
explained that task teams, by their very nature, are task and time specific, and it can't be a permanent, and there's no, and that no organization can ever eliminate the reliance on task teams. Right? That was your oral evidence yesterday. But in your term of office as a minister, you were chairing this IMC. Were you ever briefed about the 2019 work study that was done about task teams? Do you know about the 2019 work study that was done on task teams? Because the minister relied heavily on this, and he used this as one of the reasons for disbanding the PKTT.
I don't know what this work study. What I know is organogram.
It was submitted to us. So during your period, you've never seen the 2019 work study report?
It was organogram, rather than the work study.
Okay. Well, I guess if we have that in the, okay, we can follow up on that. So you don't know about the work, you understand the onogram, not this work study report. And okay, let's say that if we are talking about the onogram, why wasn't that implemented? Because this is what the minister is saying, that he used it and he relied heavily on that outside of Auntie Mary's letters of complaints, etc. So the work study report, he went on quite significantly about it. So what was your understanding about? But you're saying it's not a work study report, you're saying it's an onogram. So that might have fallen part, Minister, of the work study report.
Maybe one problem you raised initially, Honorable Member, of the lifespan of national commissioners in the South African Police. They are responsible for development of the organogram, and then they concur or they show it to the minister and all that. For the very fact that they stay this short, as they develop it, you find that he or she goes without finishing it. But there'll be always one where they continue to implement as they are there. But maybe, as you say, after 5 years, no national commission has finished the term. So all of them, will leave the half-cooked work going forward. Even myself, I remember that one was showed by Cele, but Masimula came and you reorganize it. Remember what the Constitution says. Theirs is to organize, to command, and all that kind of thing. So they have the right to put it as the way they do. I guess this thing of commissioners not staying too long is one of the problems that makes the police not to fly smoothly, not to be consistent and do what they're supposed to do. So they come and go too soon before they finish their work. I think that is one of the problems, that it was not signed, and signed 2025, yes, but it doesn't mean that there was no working document before that. The previous one that would be signed, they'd be working on it.
So the work study having been done or commissioned in 2019, having it implemented in the end of December 2024, do you think that was sound?
Do you think it was sound?
Yeah, like a sound decision to use that as a reason.
Well, December 2024, how long was the minister in the office then? 6 months? Almost 6 months. I sometimes take some time to understand and learn these things. Honorable Member, South African Police Service is a very complicated environment. It would help for any one of us to give a little bit of time to understand members there. But I heard the minister that he has consulted with many people and all that kind of stuff. I don't know how deep has it done that kind of consultation. But for me, that would be a little bit short to come there, you find this 2019 thing, and you don't give yourself enough time. 6 months for me would have been too short.
The Minister Mqunu also testified that parts of the handover when you left office as the Minister of Police, that the handover did not include a briefing on the PKTT. Is that true? Did you have a handover? Or did
We
you
did
just
have
go,
I prepared quite a thick document for handover. We sat down, 2 hours we discussed.
2 hours?
Yeah.
Only?
Yeah. Actually, I was given an hour in the office. And then I was given an hour.
And there was no engagement after that 1 hour, 2 hours in this
2
case?
hours. The engagement that could have happened is when I've left the door and said, Minister, my phone away because there are many other things that we might have to share. Unfortunately, that phone never came. And I guess even the question of this PKTT would have better discussed if that phone did come. But I can't remember, Honorable Member, the issues that we discussed that were in the document.
In those 2
Honorable
hours?
Matthias, let's take Honorable Novalo.
I thought you were stopping me. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. No, Chair, on the question that Honorable Matthias has asked a short while ago about the letter, the study that was signed after the letter was issued. I'm just interested on the clarity of the Minister on the procedural aspect. That, Minister, is it correct, General, is it correct to sign or to issue a directive on the basis of a letter which we have not signed as yet? Because the justification by the Minister is that the reason why we disbanded this on the 31st of December is because we signed a study, or the Commissioner signed a study with a new organogram in May 2025. So the new organogram was signed after the letter was issued. Now, was it procedurally correct? I'm just interested on that part. Thank you.
The study was signed in May, and the 31st letter
Yes, was
was
disbanded.
going to be accommodated on the study that does not exist.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't give logic because the study was not existing. So why do you sign the letter to fit on the structure that is not existing? So I don't think it was correct.
Thank you so much. You may proceed, Honorable Matthias.
Just on clarity, when you met Makhala in December at the very posh Beverly Hills hotel in Umhlanga, did he tell you also, I just didn't get proper clarity on that, did he tell you that the PKTT was going to be disbanded?
No.
Okay. So the first time you heard about it was with the rest of us, the New Year's Eve, when it was circulated in the media on the 2nd of January?
Yes.
Okay. You also indicated yesterday, and maybe I should also just get clarity on this, that you saw messages on his phone, Kat's phone, from the minister. Am I correct?
Yes, those messages that were either from Kat coming, they were sent to my phone. So I read them in my phone coming from Kat to say this is what he has received from the minister.
Okay, I thought yesterday you were saying that you saw evidence on Kat's phone that the minister and him were engaging. That's not so?
No, it was on Kat's phone, but it was sent to my phone.
And then how did you verify that those messages were indeed from Minister Mqunu?
Well, our